Hey guys, and welcome to Star Wars Half Hour. I don't have the cool little half thing that D-Rock does have over at the studio because I'm not at D-Rock's studio because D-Rock is a little under the weather today. So instead, you're just getting me today, and I hope that that's okay. We have a few things that I'd like to talk about before we go to the question I asked you guys last week. So, let's get right into it. Mark Hamill was doing an interview about Solo. Well, he's doing it kind of about Star Wars in general. And, he was talking about how Anthony Daniels, who plays C-3PO, has been in every single Star Wars movie so far. And he says something kind of like, he's like, yeah, C-3PO, he's been in every Star Wars movie, the prequel movies, the sequel movies. He's been in Rogue One. He's been in Solo. Oh, oops. And he kind of messed up and accidentally gave away that C-3PO is in Solo. It shouldn't really come as a surprise to anyone that C-3PO is in Solo. Anthony Daniels is, I think at this point, the only actor to have been in every single Star Wars movie. And I think it's really become a tradition at this point. I don't know if that also means that we'll see R2-D2 as R2-D2 is a character that has been in every Star Wars movie as well. I would expect R2-D2 to be right there next to C-3PO, very much like the cameo that the both of them had in Rogue One. But who knows, maybe it'll just be C-3PO. The point is, at least C-3PO has been confirmed for Solo, A Star Wars Story. And speaking of Solo, A Star Wars Story, just in case you were all wondering, when are we going to get those Solo cups with the Solo brand stuff on it? Well, those should be rolling out to everywhere at some point this week. My stores already have them. So if you're a fan of the red Solo cups, they now have pictures of Han and Chewie from the new movie, just plastered all over the plastic of those things. So now you can get your red cup with your Han Solo. I mean, it's not like they put. I thought it would be cool if they actually put like the characters on the cup itself. Nah, they were really cheap. I mean, they are red cups, and they're just on the plastic wrapping of the package. They're just on the packaging of the red cups, and they're on some other Solo stuff too. Like, Solo doesn't just make red cups. The company Solo also makes like paper plates and other things, and you can find Han Solo and Chewie and maybe some other characters on the wrappings of those too. But again, you guys, it's just like the wrappings. So I mean, once you take those cups and plates out of the wrapping, it's no longer Star Wars. I thought it would be really cool if they actually put them on the cups. Which is funny, because if you go to, like, the birthday party section of any, like, Walmart, you can usually find cups and plates with, like, Darth Vader on it and stuff. So it's like, plates and cups with Star Wars on it has been available for quite some time. But, I guess, whatever. It's for fun, it's good marketing, because Solo and Solo, whatever. Anyways, the thing that I really would like to get into today is the Russo brothers. Now, some of you guys know that the Russo brothers, they've directed Captain America, The Winter Soldier. They've directed Captain America, Civil War. And, now they've just directed Avengers Infinity War, and they're directing, of course, the next Avengers movie as well, Avengers 4, or whatever they're going to call it. And I think that they're pretty good. So far, Winter Soldier, Civil War, and Infinity War are probably my three favorite movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe so far, and I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe as well. Might be my second favorite movie series after Star Wars right now. Who knows? But yeah, so the Russo brothers, they are a brother team, sibling team of directors, and I think that they work together really well. I mean, I've seen some behind the scenes, and they seem like their synergy together is great, and the ideas that they come up with, and their ability to work with all these actors, and work with 30 characters and still make the movie feel important. It's just amazing. So yeah, they said that they are interested in the future. Of course, they couldn't commit to anything because they're still very busy with Marvel stuff. But they said that they'd be interested in the future in working on a Star Wars movie, which really got me excited, because if they can do anything close to, if they were going to make like an Old Republic movie and work with like a bunch of different characters, or any Star Wars movie that would have to deal with like more than 10 main characters, the Russo brothers are a perfect group to kind of go in and make it feel like a real film with that many characters. And it's an interesting, because I mean, there are some directors that they can't even juggle 5 main characters, let alone, 28 or however many was in Infinity War. But, yeah, I'd be excited. I mean, as I've said in previous videos, like, my only hesitation is, like, they're so good at what they do at Marvel, I'd hate to take them away from Marvel, because putting them into a Star Wars situation means that they're going to have to take a couple years break away from Marvel, and I do think that they do great work over at Marvel. So it's like, would we be getting an awesome Russo Brothers Star Wars? Yes, but at what cost? Because then they might have some other jerk direct an Avengers movie and it won't be as good. I don't know. Or they could find an excellent director. Colin Trevorrow could probably direct an excellent Avengers movie, so, get him in there. Also, Colin Trevorrow would direct an awesome Star Wars movie, too. And he was supposed to direct Episode 9, if you remember. But now he's not. Because, whatever. Anyways, and now JJ's doing it. But yeah, I would love to see the Russo brothers direct a Star Wars movie. But again, they've done excellent work with Marvel. And, maybe in addition to whatever question I ask you at the end of this video, if you also want to let me know, I know this is a Star Wars video, if you also want to just let me know what you guys... Kylo Ren fell over! It's an omen. He dies in the next movie. No. So last week I asked you guys what you thought about the future of Star Wars. Do you think that it should take a break after Episode 9 and maybe have 5 to 10 years before they get to 10? I said maybe you guys think that they should make spin-offs during that time. Or, maybe you think it should be saga films and spin-offs like we've been doing forever, never stop. Or just nothing for a while. That's what I actually asked you guys. And let's see what you guys said. Philip Bayer said, I'd like to see them take a few years off from the numbered episodes after 9, but I'm still okay with more Star Wars movies, even a 2-3 a year at some point. Those couple years in between numbered episodes would leave plenty of time for them to figure out the overarching story of the next trilogy instead of each director doing their own thing like we saw in this trilogy. And then Philip Bayer has a question for me. What will the best viewing order after Episode 9 be? And should it be different if it's your first time watching? By the way, my name is pronounced like Bayer. Oh, okay, that would have been great to know. My viewing order has always been chronological, and that includes whatever comes out in the interim. So, when I was a little kid, of course, I used to go 4, 5, 6, because that's all I had. After the prequels came out, I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now that we have episodes 7, 8, and Rogue One, I go 1, 2, 3, Rogue One, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, I will continue to just watch Star Wars in chronological order. Some people like to watch them in the order that they were actually released, and that's perfectly fine too. But as a I need to see the story unfold, the way that it is chronological. I'm weird, so. Hockey Song says, I think the Star Wars Skywalker saga died when The Force Awakens came out. It ruined the legacy of Han and Leia. Then when The Last Jedi came out, it ruined the legacy of Luke Skywalker and Admiral Akbar, and only focuses on characters that we never cared for in the first place. What I think Disney should do is they should fire Kathleen Kennedy, kill off Rian Johnson's plans for his trilogy, do not bring up any more political BS, and slow down on the Star Wars films, because Star Wars isn't like any other film where it can be based on a comic book. Star Wars was something new and creative that wasn't based off a book. It was based on a guy's imagination. If Disney wants to make a good Star Wars film, they need to give more power to the directors, not to the politics. But that's just my opinion. Very interesting Hockey Song. That is that is the not quite the opposite view of Philip Bayer, but a different view. I tend to lean on, I'm cool with them making a Star Wars movie multiple times a year, as long as they're good. And, the political stuff, like a lot of people say, oh, this was political, this was political. I didn't really see a whole lot of political stuff personally, but I think that, there's a lot of things that people think are political that I just think people kind of make too big a deal of, I think. I thought maybe they did get a little political during the casino scene during the Last Jedi, but I still didn't think that it was that bad. As far as I wasn't thinking in my head there's too much politics in this movie. I never thought that. I just think that if you make a good movie, it doesn't matter whether you have politics in it or not. Personally, my philosophy has always been, entertainment first. A movie should be there to tell a story and entertain, and I don't really care for politics in movies personally. So I think that politics should be, for the most part, left out. But besides the thing about the horse races, I don't really see a whole lot of politics in Star Wars. At least not real politics. It's all space politics. You know, so I don't know. Like, a lot of people keep saying politics, and I guess I'm just not seeing what they're seeing. I don't know. You know, I know some people have a, you know, some people have a problem with just, like, a whole bunch of, like, diversity in Star Wars. I think diversity in Star Wars is great, because it is a galaxy of a bunch of different kinds of humans, different kinds of aliens. It should feel very diverse. It should not be a galaxy of, like, half the galaxy is white dudes. It should not be that. It should be diverse. And then he has a question for me. He says, how much money do you think Disney should spend on the Star Wars live-action series, and how long should the episodes be? Well, that is an excellent question, because, like Game of Thrones, they put millions of dollars into each episode of Game of Thrones, and it turns out really great. And, you know, they're able to, like, market it and, you know, like, get, you know, merchandise out. And, you know, Game of Thrones makes its money back. Disney could put any amount of money. I mean, it's Star Wars. It's going to make its money back. They could put any amount of money. I would say they could put $5-10 million into each episode, and they'd probably make it back easily, you know? And, of course, it should be, I would say, an hour per episode and then 10 episodes a season. That's just kind of like the perfect show length for me personally. Garrett has a question. He says, we always talk about the expanded universe like it was a great tragedy that was lost. But some of it was hot garbage and some of it was incredible. A very mixed bag. Question is, what are the highs and lows of the expanded universe for you? Well, that's very interesting, because maybe I'm just a super weeb, a super nerd, but I didn't have problems with the original expanded universe. I think the only lows from the original expanded universe was maybe some of the early Marvel comics from, like, the late 70s, early 80s, like that very first chunk of stuff we got. And, okay, so maybe some of the video games throughout the years haven't been the best, but I would say that 90% of the original expanded universe, and I'm talking Old Republic, Shadows of the Empire, even like those kids about those two little kids, those books about those two little kids that I can't remember I used to read, the Rogue Squadron novels, all that stuff was great. It's actually harder for me to think of bad Star Wars stuff. And don't mention the Ewok movies. Broken Filter says, I haven't read any comics or books or anything, but I see that you guys are hinting around Mara and Luke being Rey's parents. Does that mean that Kylo lied to Rey about her parents being nobody important? This is actually kind of going into something that we were talking about last week, and how there was, like, that casting call that said they were looking for a woman between 40 and 50 to play a woman named Mara, which I think may even be fake news. But, you know, again, just because someone named Mara is there doesn't mean she's Mara Jade. And even if it is Mara Jade, it doesn't mean they're going with the original EU story that they were married. And even if they are married or were married at some point, it does not mean they're Rey's parents. I actually wasn't hinting, or I think that I don't think, even if they were to bring in like I said last week, it would be such a shame for them to bring in Mara Jade at this point, in my opinion, because they couldn't have her be the same character she was in the original expanded universe. Like, I don't know how it would work. And I think it's way too late to have Luke be Rey's dad. As far as Kylo goes, though, I do think he lied to Rey. I think he kind of sensed her fears and kind of just said what he thought he needed to say to try to bring her to his side. To me, it was very obvious that Kylo Ren was lying to Rey at that moment. And I don't think any of us really want her parents to just be junkers, but I don't know. I won't speak for everyone. And I think that's about it. That's about everybody who actually answered my question. So thank you very much to everyone who answered that question, and I'm glad that I got to give my answers and give a little bit of insight on that. And now for this week's question. So, in light of Solo coming out, this is a little bit more of a focused question. Which spin-off do you want to see? And I'm not talking about a series of Old Republic movies. I'm talking like Obi-Wan, Boba Fett, Jabba the Hutt, Yoda, a character that has not even been in any of the movies, or maybe a character that was in the movies very little. Are you craving to see that IG-88 Solo film? Oh, do you think that Lando should get his own film? Whether that be Donald Glover, the younger Lando, or that be Billy D. Williams, the older Lando. Do you think Lando should have his own spin-off movie? Who do you think deserves their own spin-off movie in the Star Wars universe? Let me know in the comments below. And also, don't forget to give this video a big old thumbs up. Tell all your friends to subscribe right here to the Rich Alvarez channel so that you can watch the Star Wars half hour every Tuesday night right here on the Rich Alvarez channel. Alright guys, that's going to do... I know how it's actually kind of like a quarter hour. That's alright. I don't have much to say because it's just me tonight, so this is a bit shorter than it's even been. But sorry about that, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I can't wait to see you guys next week. Bye!